Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
People out.
Well, I mean, the thing with it here
Yeah, no,
is it's not
yeah,
gonna be.
When you're on the stovetop, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
Here, like, I'll start moving stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not dropping any frames. We should be live.
At least show the else ready.
Yeah, that's why I left the small cutting board and the tornado knife with. There's two more. Okay, cool. Hey, what's up, Apollo? Thanks for coming by. Got the stinky cheese. So yeah, we're gonna be making. Let me make sure I updated the menu command. Okay, yeah. I had to restart the stream because I was having a delay issue with my camera again. It's because I had too much stuff running in the background, so I just went ahead and restarted. And it seems to be working okay now. So yeah, we're even making a ton of food.
Lots and lots of stuff today.
Stuff. Hey, what's up, Sandwich? How are you today, sir?
Thanks everybody for being here.
Yeah, everyone's coming in early, coming in hot. So,
We'll start with our strawberry bread.
yeah, so,
First.
hey, Kate. Yeah.
You need a big bowl.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, we're gonna make a strawberry bread, and then we're gonna talk about like a few different ways to eat it, even though you can just eat it plain. Got that. I'm gonna show the picture.
Okay. Mrs. Piscotti is getting a cookbook to show you where we got some of our inspiration.
Yeah. We were trying to think of stuff that just sounded good for 4th of July, and we have this cookbook that is like best of Georgia recipes, which we figured would have some very good like Americana kind of recipes, and that's where we found this recipe.
Yeah. I also have one just being from North Carolina. I've got a North Carolina style one too, but the Georgia one actually had some better inspiration for us for today. So,
yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're excited for it. It's gonna be cool.
We're very excited.
So the reason we were looking at strawberry bread too is we were gonna do like a strawberry shortcake, but that has a lot of different components to it and a lot of different steps where you've got to make the shortbread, you've got to make the macerated strawberries, you've got to make the whipped cream, then you've got to assemble it all for every individual dish. The beauty of this is we can just basically combine the strawberries and the shortcake together in one process, and then that allows you to do a lot of different things with it. You could make s'mores with it as a base. You can still make your strawberry shortcake where all you really need to do is throw some whipped cream on top of it. But really this is to hopefully give you guys some ideas of things that aren't too difficult to do that you could potentially bring with you to if you're going to a 4th of July barbecue tomorrow or just future summer barbecues. All of the stuff we're doing is pretty basic. And so strawberry shortcake is really good, but it's kind of a complex recipe, so this should be a lot easier.
The other thing too with this recipe that we like is you use frozen strawberries for the cake, or the bread rather. And so you could either mix different frozen fruits or, you know, use blueberries or blackberries or whatever. You don't have to just use strawberries. So it's nice that you can kind of customize it a little bit also. So we'll show you some of the other applications that we're going to do. It's of course very good plain, or on its own. But it's a pretty simple recipe, not very expensive. And
Big sifter.
there's like a sifter sifter.
Oh, that works. So, we're gonna get started with the dough for this. So I'm just gonna have like a nice big metal bowl I'm gonna be working with, and we've already portioned out our dry ingredients. This is something that's common in baking, where you kind of work with dry ingredients and wet ingredients, and you'll eventually combine them together, but they're usually kind of held separate in the initial stages of the baking. So this is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, excuse me, and that's it for this piece. So I'm gonna go ahead, we've got a nice sifter here. So as you can see, it spins and it's gonna kind of like push it through a sift. So, no, but I'll use it.
I don't know.
No, well, it's a good idea. It's just, I would rather get crazy and just go all in, but you're right, I should do it this way. So, I'm just gonna be putting,
Adding a little at a time to sift it.
yeah.
And that just adds some air into the dry ingredients.
So you can see it's kind of pushing it through. Yeah, you can see that. And yeah, it's getting everything to a really nice fine grate. And as Mrs. Biscotti was saying, it's adding air into it, which is going to make for, can you hold this?
Yeah.
It's going to make for a nice fluffy consistency.
Apollo, what else are in the German cookies? Is it like a spice cookie? Take over. Kimbo hears noise, so she's coming in now.
Alright, that looks like it's all sifted.
Want the sugar now?
So now this is a really nice, smooth consistency. Yeah. Next up, we've got some sugar. You don't necessarily want to sift the sugar, because this is some thicker grains of sugar and a lot of it would get caught up in it and it's just not going to do what you want. So it's still a dry ingredient, so I want to incorporate it with this. So I'm just going to kind of whisk it in a little bit.
And that's 2 cups of just regular granulated white sugar. And this recipe is using we're using canola oil. You could also use vegetable oil and not butter. And so that's why we're adding the sugar now. If it were a recipe that used butter, you would cream the butter and the sugar together. But since this is using oil, it's just not that, it's a different set of steps.
Need the frozen strawberries. What's up, Turtle? Welcome. So, like we said, we're just using some nice frozen strawberries. So, even though strawberries are in season right now, this is a recipe you could make at other points in the year, which is kind of nice because I'm actually a fan of strawberries.
Yeah. Well, the frozen usually have a little more juice in them than fresh, which will be good. It'll kind of run through the batter, which will be nice.
So I'm just going to slice these up a little bit. Yes, please.
And this is 2 10-ounce bags of frozen strawberries. So again, if you wanted to mix fruit or substitute for another fruit, you would just need essentially 20 ounces of frozen fruit. This recipe is going to make 2 loaf pans. Let's see, what are these?
9 by 5?
They're 10-inch actually.
Okay.
Anyway.
So 10 by 5, 10 by
10
6.
Yeah, loaf pans of cake. So I'm just taking a stick of butter and kind of taking the end off of it and rubbing it on the inside to grease the inside of the pan. You could also use the spray if you want, spray it over the sink. I prefer butter, it's natural and it tastes good, and we're making cake, so just go for it.
Hey, Speller. How are you? Welcome. And yes, Kate is doing laundry, so she'll be back in a few minutes, but...
My least favorite of all.
I kind of chop these up pretty rough chop. I mean, you can see I did one pass through them. And these are defrosted for the most part. There's still a little bit of ice in there that I can feel, but that's not going to be a problem. It'll cook out very quickly, and it's just going to provide some moisture into the batter. There we go. So, lots of strawberries. Hey, what's up, Gingy? So next we're going to assemble all of our wet ingredients together, our moist ingredients, and add them into our dries. So this includes 4 eggs. We added a little bit of vanilla to it. This is a cup and a quarter of oil. Again, we're just using canola oil for this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so canola oil, vegetable oil, just a clear, mild, no-taste oil. You don't want to use olive oil.
Yeah, you want something very plain that's going to take on the flavors of what we're cooking. So for this, an olive oil, like she was just saying, would not work so great because you don't want that olive flavor contending with the strawberries. And yes,
Chinese almond cookies. That's one of my favorite cookies.
these are my How High socks with Method Man and Red Man on them. I feel like that's appropriate. It's a very American thing to have. Let's see, what else? Eggs, oil, strawberries, pecans too.
Yes.
Eggs, oil. strawberries. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is for this process. Let's see if you can see this well. We're gonna make a well in the middle of our dry ingredients. So I'm just kind of like pushing them all to the outside. This is a similar process that you would do when you're making pasta. You kind of make a well, you put the eggs in the middle, maybe some water, and you start combining, so it's a very familiar process. But we're gonna add in our wet ingredients now.
And that was the 4 eggs and a little bit of vanilla.
And we're gonna add in our toppings as well. So we're gonna add in the pecans.
It was also 1 1/4 cups of the canola oil. And that was 1 cup of chopped pecans. You could also, you know, if you prefer walnuts or almonds or something, you could substitute.
Now, add in all our strawberries. Can you give me a big spoon?
Yeah, like a spatula.
Yeah, either a spatula or like a whip.
This.
This would be good, actually. Okay, and then we just stir it all together to combine.
Oh, your playlist is popular.
Oh, nice, Nick. I'm glad to hear it. 7-Eleven getting down to some drum and bass. I may have my drum and bass playlist.
Shoes in a dryer is a very good way to describe it as far as I'm concerned.
What? Shoes in the dryer? Yeah, Mrs. Biscotti is not the biggest fan of drum and bass.
It makes me very angry. I just get agitated.
So you can see the dough is already starting to come together. All of those wet ingredients are getting mixed around with the flour. Always remember to scrape your edges.
And you don't want to mix it too much because the flour will start developing the gluten and become tough if you overmix the protein.
Yeah, you can see there's still some in there, especially like it gets clumped up in the middle
Yeah.
a bit. So yeah, but yeah, try not to overmix. Anytime you're working with flour, it will become kind of gummy and tough. Yeah, and also another benefit of using those frozen strawberries, because they have that extra moisture content in them. You can see that, I'm not sure if you can see on here. Yeah, I mean, the dough's almost taking on this pink color.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unique, you know? Like, it's not something that you would see just in a normal cake
Yeah,
or
like
a normal bread.
mixing strawberries and blueberries would be good for the 4th of July.
Which I actually did on Friday. I taught that class that I teach, the Cooking with Cannabis class, and our idea we always make a Rice Krispie treat because that's always, you know, a very stoner-friendly thing to do. I have a lot of different toppings I usually use, but for this one we did red, white, and blue, so we did blueberries, strawberries, and coconut, just kind of in preparation for the 4th.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We can post a picture even of the recipe from the book.
Yeah, it's basically combine all your dry ingredients, combine all your wet ingredients, combine them all together, mix it until the batter comes together, and then pour it into some pans and get it in the oven.
Yeah.
It's really, really basic.
Yeah, if you don't have loaf pans, like you could put it in a bigger,
Like a cake
pan.
Yeah, that's fine still.
but even the market sells like foil loaf pans. So
I'm just gonna try and evenly distribute this between the two.
haven't had chocolate Coca-Cola cake, but that sounds pretty good too.
It's a southern thing.
Yeah, like the Dr. Pepper cake.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma used to make a 7-Up cake.
Yeah, the carbonation really helps to make it lighter.
Yeah. Her drink was a 7 and 7. Maybe that's why she made it.
Lots of 7-Up around. Yeah.
Pretty, they could be pretty Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So these are just gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about an hour. I'll probably start checking it. Good. Excuse me. Oh wait, no. These go into the 425.
No, it goes into 350 for an hour. Cornbread's 425.
Right. So.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Make good French toast. Alright, so next up we're going to get our chili started. And then while that's cooking, we're going to cook the rest of our stuff. So we're making a vegetarian chili, but the recipe is actually adapted from a meat version that we used to make a lot. So we'll tell you how to make it with meat too.
Okay. So the first thing we're actually going to do for that is roast off a poblano pepper. So we're able to find poblanos this time. I actually like using these in my guacamole as well. But I am going to turn the camera so you can see it. I've already got 2 that I have roasted and wrapped. But yeah, so hang on. Go this way.
Sorry, I know it's loud. I'm just trying to.
Okay, fine. I'm just gonna do this right over an open flame. This pepper has already been washed and dried. So I'm just getting a piece of plastic wrap together also, because we're going to wrap it up to get it to steam. And all that skin is going to come off. Yeah, I love these peppers. These are some of my favorite. They're really not that spicy. It's way too low. Let's see if that's better. Yeah, that's better. They're really not that spicy. By doing this process, we're going to kind of get a lot of that smoky flavor into it. We're charring it, and we're going to remove the skin, but it's going to be a really nice preparation of it.
They've been surprisingly hard to find here in Denver, though. I used to find them in California all the time, and now it's a bit difficult.
So what I'm looking for on this is basically for it to turn black. You want to pull it before it turns white. At that point, it is turning into ash and you've burnt it. But this process, we're just trying to char it. So you can kind of see it's already starting to take on some black color to it. So I'm just going to keep letting it go until really the whole side of this pepper becomes that nice char. What we're going to do afterwards is we're going to wrap it in some saran wrap. If you don't have saran wrap, you can, I already showed it to him. You can use like a big plastic bag. Basically, you just want to trap all the air in it and get it as tight as possible, because what's going to happen is the pepper's going to continue to cook from all the heat, and it's going to steam, and that is going to create a small layer in between the kind of charred skin and the like meat of the pepper, and so then you just are able to scrape it off really easily. This is only going to take a few minutes. Maybe talk about the spice blend when I do this.
Oh, okay.
So while this continues to roast off, Mrs. Biscotti is going to talk about the various different spices that we're using in the chili to kind of make the flavor profile.
So this is something that I just kind of developed as I've developed the chili recipe. We buy, I think I've shown this before, but I try to get the bulk spices. They're a lot more affordable than the little glass jars, and they tend to actually be fresher even in the glass jars as well. And then we mix our own spices when we're cooking stuff like this. So in here I have a tablespoon each of Italian seasoning, ground dry mustard, paprika, and chili powder, and then half a tablespoon of cayenne. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of cumin because I forgot to put that in, and I really like cumin in the spice blend. I've got some salt and ground black pepper in here already as well. And then I've mixed it all up to try to get everything incorporated really well. And we're going to add that throughout the cooking process. We've got some vegetables that we're going to cook down, and then as the beans and tomatoes and everything cook, we'll keep adding it through. And you can adjust the levels of the different spices, based on your taste or what you even have, in your pantry. And then you can also, adjust how much you put in while it's cooking based on how spicy you want it. If you've got some left over, you can serve it with the chili to make it more spicy. And we like it on potatoes or on fish and stuff like that too, if we've got any left over.
So I've gone ahead and flipped this pepper now. So you can see the one side really has a nice char on it. And the side's getting there, it's about halfway done or so. You just kind of move it around on the flame. I'm not sure if you can tell from this far away, but I'm really putting it right on top of the flame, not just in the middle, because in the middle, there's kind of like a dead spot, but the flame wraps around. So yeah. Hey, what's up, Alan? How are you?
Hey, Alan. So yeah, I just added the cumin in, and see, that's why I want to mix stuff, is so that everything gets evenly distributed. And then I actually have a dual fork, knife, spoon thing here, which is one of my favorite things in the whole kitchen that we have. I use it for lunch a lot when I am on campus. I bring it in my lunchbox, and I look like the little nerd, but that's okay because I am. But anyway, it's really good for this process because the one end you can mix it with the fork, and then on the other end we'll use the spoon to sprinkle it in while we're cooking. Yeah, we have a little set of multiple colors. You use them a lot too.
I do. Yeah, I steal them all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in the saran wrap. Make sure you get a nice tight seal on it, and it will basically kind of cook itself closed. You're kind of making a cocoon for it.
Cocoon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll just kind of let that hang out for a few minutes. It's going to be really hot to the touch right now, but as it cools off, we're going to put on some rubber gloves and be able to pull off everything really easily. Well, the other two are done, so I'm just going to wait for a while to that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start cooking our vegetables for the chili. We're gonna use a nice big.
Sorry, I keep walking back and forth in front of the camera, but we've got everything on our dining table in the other room laid out, so that's what's happening.
I'm actually gonna grab this other camera. Bring this over. Let's see if we can get a good setup on it.
You done with the film, right?
Yes, thank you. Okay. It kind of gives you an idea. So, nice hot pot. I'm gonna go with some grapeseed oil to start with. Very
Yeah.
And we're gonna start cooking off some of these ingredients. So, I've already diced up a bunch of onions. It's 4 onions total. Yellow style onion.
And if you wanted to use meat, you would actually cook the meat.
Yes. So this recipe is 2 pounds of meat, I think. One? Okay. So if you were to use, we've done beef in the past, or chicken or turkey, you would get a pound of ground meat of your choice, or a mix of meats. You would brown the meat off first and actually remove it from the pan, and then start this process of cooking the vegetables in that kind of meat fat and kind of all the juices that it let go.
Yeah. I've also done this recipe in my slow cooker, and I still would brown the meat first and then just put everything into the slow cooker. Sometimes I cook the vegetables first, other times I just cook them in raw. And it cooks for so long that really either way is fine. But
I like being able to get some caramelization on the vegetables. I prefer that flavor.
I do too. Part of the purpose of the slow cooker recipe is like to make your life easier.
Hey, Ben.
But either way, if you're making it with meat, you want to cook the meat down first to get the liquid out of it and to get that char on the meat. I did forget to do that one time when I made it in the slow cooker with the ground meat, and it was okay, but it really was not very good. So you definitely want to cook the meat first. But if you were going to do this vegetarian style in the slow cooker, you wouldn't necessarily have to cook the vegetables first. You could probably just dump everything in.
And because we're not using meat in this version of the chili, we're going to be adding some extra beans to it to give it some additional weight to the chili and have, some more protein, some more fiber, and just kind of round out the chili a little bit.
Well, just a variety.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already assembled the strawberry bread. It's in the oven. And I didn't start my timer on it, so that's great. What's everyone doing for their 4th of July? Anyone have any big plans? Yeah, timers are for novices, but there's a recipe I've never made before, so we'll be fine.
Usually smell this.
Yeah, I have a good nose for knowing when stuff is actually complete, so I'm able to just pull it out of the oven at the right time.
types of tomatoes that are going in this recipe. I have one 28-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes, and we want to crush those up. I'm just going to use my hands to crush them up. You could also use a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, but we both like the texture of hand crushing. You get just kind of longer pieces. You get a little more juice that way also. So it's really just kind of personal preference. It just takes a couple minutes to do. But again, if you don't want bothered with it, you could use dice. So I'll show you my process as I do that. I'm just going to pour you a bowl over here.
Oh, happy birthday, then. Mrs. Biscotti has a birthday on the 5th.
Ah.
Adding in 2 bell peppers. She will be a little bit older than 20.
Oh. Alright, so okay.
Hello, Durs, welcome. Sorry, I didn't say hello.
The tomatoes right now are, whole. I'm just going to go in and mush them up with my hands. It's actually a good way to kind of get out your aggressions if you have any. I find it therapeutic.
Well, the other thing I like about using the whole tomatoes too is it holds up better in the canning process. If you use diced tomatoes, they've already been cut, they've lost a lot of their natural juices, they remove the seeds a lot of times, and it kind of compromises the integrity of the product. When these are whole, they've already been peeled, so that's great. You don't have to worry about the skins. And you're getting all of that flavor from the tomato without giving up anything, and it's still nice and canned.
Yeah, I mean, you can see I've got like some of the pulp from the inside. It's just, you get a lot more flavor from using in Italian they're called pelati. But we tend to use this a lot when we make our own tomato sauce. When it's not tomato season, this is what we use.
I'm going to add in some celery. There's just one bunch of celery that I chopped up. Again, I tried to take care of a lot of the, a good chunk of the prep work off stream since we're making so much food today. This would be like a freaking 6 or 7 hour stream if I had to do all the prep on it too. And where you guys would get kind of bored, I'd rather you see the cooking and the actual preparation of the food rather than the preparation of the ingredients that go into it. Oh, perfect. See me over here? Yeah, you can still see me over there.
He's just getting ready to peel those poblano peppers that were charred. Those are going to get added. We should add some of the spice mix to the
Vegetables.
Yeah.
No way. I can't stream for that long. I don't know how people do that. So I'm going to add a little bit of the spice mix to the vegetables. Good handful of it. And instantly it starts changing the color of it. There's so much red and brown in those spices and orange. And with the onions, they're going to pick up all of that.
And that's the advantage of adding it as you're cooking, is they're going to get kind of toasted now with the onions. It just adds a depth of flavor throughout the cooking process. And so I went through the tomatoes and just, again, basically ripped them up kind of with my fingers. So there's some bigger and smaller chunks, nothing too big. We've got the pulp from the inside. So it just makes it, a nice rustic kind of That's the word I'm looking for. Like, not uniform. Can't use my words today.
So I'm going to start working with the poblanos back here. I've just got a cutting board. Those first two that we did off stream ahead of time. So you can see I've taken this off, and you can see the skin is all wilted now and charred. I want to get rid of this, so I'm going to take, it works really well if you use gloves. You can use just a paper towel as well if you don't have gloves. I have gloves from various kitchen purposes and from picking up dog poop in our yard. And this
Appetizing to talk about it.
Yeah. And then, so you can see it just slid right on off, and now we're just left with a really nice smoky poblano that was charred, but the skin has been removed.
If you can't find poblanos, you could do the same with jalapenos, Anaheim peppers. You could do it to the bell peppers if you want, just to try to get kind of that smoky flavor. Yeah, and from the cocoon comes a nice poblano.
Yes, exactly.
But we really do both like the poblano, so I hunted them down.
The other reason I really like working with the gloves is this is the one that we just did, and it's still quite hot to the touch, but the skin is ready to go. But the gloves give you just that little bit of extra protection when working with something really hot. But yeah, like I can see there's steam coming off of it as I feel it. Yeah, this process, you know, it takes a little bit of time, but it really does make it worth it. It gives so much more flavor and a really awesome texture to the product. It's worth doing, in my opinion.
Well, that's part of, well, when we add the beans, we'll talk about it, that was some of the choices that we made in the beans, was trying to get different flavor, different texture. Same with the vegetables, you know, we've got celery, onion, the green bell pepper holds up a little bit better than like the red and the yellow. The poblanos, since they've been charred, are going to be a little bit softer, so just gives a nice variety.
And then I'm going to remove out the seeds for this. Don't want them.
We're getting some nice brown bits on the bottom of the pan in here, which the tomatoes, the acid from those, will help pick those up when we add them in. I'll lower the heat a little bit. One of the reasons we're using a wooden spoon is so we can scrape the pan as we're cooking, so I'm trying to scrape up those bits as we're cooking the vegetables so we don't burn anything. That's fine. We're going to need to add those tomatoes soon.
Hey Kate, welcome back.
Our vegetables are actually nice and soft now, so I'm going to go ahead and add that 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes that I crushed. And since our pan's nice and hot, you can hear it sizzling already, and it's picking up those nice brown bits from the onions and celery and bell peppers with the spices. That's what turned nice and brown. And that's deglazing the pan is the fancy technical term for that. But really any acid is going to do that. Vinegar or lemon juice with the tomatoes did that in this.
Wine.
Yeah, wine will do that. And then I also have here a 16-ounce can of just plain tomato sauce. And so we're going to stir that in and get everything up to temperature. And he's adding those diced poblanos behind me. Stab me. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the spice mix since we add those tomatoes. Oh, Rudy, the dog, is watching too.
Yeah, Rudy.
Kimbo's in the other room.
She's angry with the 4th of July. There's been some fireworks already. She gets freaked out.
Alright. We need to do the chipotle sauce now.
Okay.
We're gonna have a lot of food. I don't know how we're gonna eat all of this, but we'll figure it out. Alright. So we're also gonna add some canned chipotle peppers, which those are, what, roasted and smoked jalapenos?
No. Shit. No. I forget what pepper they are.
I think they're jalapenos, the red jalapenos. We're up for debate on that, but that's what I believe they are. And it's in an adobo sauce. So they're really smoky flavor, spicy but not overwhelmingly so. I usually put in like 3 to 5, up to you. So we're gonna chop some of those up with the sauce and add those in as well. They're really dark red in color, so they add a really nice earthy flavor to the chili. Again, that's something that you can add to your preference. You can also find just like pureed chipotles in the adobo, which is a little bit easier to just spoon out however much you want. Again, if you add them chopped up, you get a nice texture, you get some of the seeds. So personal preference, it's up to you. We like the texture kind of running throughout. You typically don't end up using the whole can, so I will put some in a little Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer, and we can, you know, thaw it out and use it next time we want to make something with these flavors. I think we're good to add the beans.
So, we've got a nice big mix of beans. We've got kidney beans, cannellini beans, garbanzo, and black-eyed peas.
And again, if you were using meat, we have, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5 total cans of beans. If you were using a pound of meat, you would use 3 cans of beans. So, and then you could use whatever mix of beans you want. We typically would use 1 pound of meat and then 2 cans of kidney beans and 1 can of cannellini beans. But if you wanted to use all kidney beans, or, you know, black-eyed peas and kidney beans or whatever, you would just need 3 cans of beans and 1 pound of meat. We have substituted the meat with the extra, essentially, pound of beans.
You were right, it's a jalapeno.
All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of the spice blend again. Do you wanna add more salt too, do you think?
Yeah.
And we have some here to set aside just to add as we cook. We're gonna add some more salt to beans, take on a lot of salt.
Do you want some garlic?
Sure. We're gonna add a little bit of chopped up garlic here too. If you were cooking this in the slow cooker, I would use granulated garlic rather than fresh. And you could even put that in your spice blend if you wanted to. All right. And so this is good to just kind of set on a low flame covered.
Let's move it back to this burner. So yeah, that is just going to hang out now for a while. How come the slow cooker comment? Oh, you mean to use like a granulated garlic instead of a fresh? Just because it's going to be on the heat for so much longer. You know, the fresh garlic in this, it's a real nice preparation of it. It'll pull out those flavors cleanly. But if you were to let it cook for 9 or 10 hours in a slow cooker, it would become really dehydrated, and yeah, it would get burnt and become bitter. But when you use a granulated garlic or a dried powder form of it, that it kind of avoids that process. It'll still keep that garlic flavor. Sometimes need to use a little bit more of it because essentially it's already been dehydrated and it needs to rehydrate through the process. Welcome back, Turtle. What are you doing next?
The cornbread.
Cornbread. Okay. So, next up is cornbread.
You want to toast the corn first?
Yeah. So next up, we're going to be making some cornbread. We both like to add some toasted corn to the cornbread. People, it's fine either way. This is something you could absolutely skip if you just want to keep it.
Yeah, we added this to the recipe, which we got this from our Georgia cookbook. Also, it did not call for this, we just wanted to add it.
No, you didn't really miss much, Turtle. We finished up making the chili. It is back here now. Oh, and Kate, I saw your comment earlier. Yes, this is a very nice pot. It's a Le Creuset.
Yes.
This is, we have 2 Le Creuset pots and we use the crap out of them. Yeah, they're like our best things to work with in the kitchen.
We're actually going to cook this in our toaster oven.
Yeah, because it's at a different temperature. Yeah. So the strawberry bread is cooking at 350 degrees, and the cornbread is going to be at 425 degrees. With that temperature difference, we don't want to cook both products in the same oven together.
It's actually 8-inch pan.
Yeah, that's fine, even with adding corn. So we've got a nice hot pan. Go ahead and add in just a bag of frozen corn.
And 10-ounce bag.
Yeah, 10-ounce bag of frozen corn.
Can you put some
I like mine to be sweet. I just added it. Yeah, the ridges on top of the lid. Yeah, kind of gives it away that it's a Le Creuset pot.
on the sticker.
Yeah, I don't. They can't see that from there. Yeah. So If you want to make this cornbread a little bit more savory, you could add in some jalapenos to this as well. You could add in some of that spice blend that we were using in the chili.
Some shredded cheese.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I prefer my cornbread to be a little bit on the sweeter side, so I'm just going to roast off this corn, leave it pretty plain, and then I'll hit it with a bunch of butter and honey once it comes out, kind of as I eat it. That's my favorite way.
I grew up, she was like a grandmother to me, but not blood related. But one of the treats she would give me when I was a kid would be like chunks of cornbread in a bowl and milk poured over top. And everybody that I tell that says it sounds weird, but it's so good. You get like the salty, sweet from the cornbread, and then a little bit of milk just to give it the cold, liquid on top. It's so good. It's like Captain Crunch, but cornbread. So that's what I plan on doing with it when we're not eating it with dinner. We have some vegetable broth if you need it.
Let's see how it goes for a little bit. We may end up needing some with all these beans though.
Yeah.
That's,
Not as much liquid as in this,
I
right?
think we can use some of our stock.
It's frozen now.
Frozen. To cook out quickly. Or we can even just like take some milk down. Sorry, the movement. So, just took out some of our vegetable stock that we had made. We're gonna add this to the chili. It's looking, just because we added so many extra beans to this, I think it's gonna need some extra moisture in it, so that's... I think that'll be a good addition. Yeah, we got the wooden spoon in the cup. Our little spoon rester thing is dirty, so... Okay, it's been about 30 minutes on the bread, so I want to take a look at it, how it's going. Oh yeah. So, it is still not done by any means, but you can see it has risen quite a bit in the pan. So I'm just going to turn it, rotate it.
Such a pretty color, too.
Yeah. It smells really good.
Yeah, it does.
Hey.
Yeah, we've got 10 ounces of frozen corn that we let sit out for a little while, and so we're just toasting it. It adds like a nice crunchy kind of chewy texture in the bread. And
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a little bit of caramelization on the corn, get some of those yellow kernels to turn a little brown.
you could definitely use fresh corn too and just cut it off the cob. It's just, it's nice and easy to do the frozen corn, but we used to live really close, like walking distance to a produce stand that sold fresh corn. So we would get that frequently and do this process, but the frozen corn, when you're making so many things, it's nice and easy.
Oh, nice, Kate. You got us on the big TV. Yes. Are we just giant? Alright, I think the corn's good. So, I'm going to rotate the camera back over to the other side, and we're going to start assembling the dough for the cornbread.
Helpless.
Hmm?
I need to help.
Okay. Yeah, you can. The timer's fine. You can change the timer to.
I don't think it.
Hey, Kimby. Good. We got Kimbo down here. Got dog camera. She's kind of angry today. I gave her a bath too. That never. So. All right. Nope, and she's walking away. Yeah, between the bath, the fireworks, all sorts of stuff. She's angry.
We're on her list.
Yeah. Cool. So, yes.
So we've got all of the ingredients portioned out already again. Showed you the Georgia cookbook we got this from. We actually have
So-
one point.
That's fine. So we've got a cup of flour and a tablespoon of baking powder and a quarter teaspoon of baking soda in here. We've got, was the salt in there too?
I think so. Yes. Yes, it was.
And then we're gonna stir in, we've got some cornmeal.
Yes.
Yes, please. I'm just gonna kind of whisk this together to incorporate the cornmeal and
That's
those other dry ingredients.
a cup of cornmeal.
Yes, I'm sorry. I look good in HD. Well, that's good. Okay. Now we're going to get a. These bowls will actually work well, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got one egg. Just whisk it up. And then we've got 1.5 cups of buttermilk, which Mr. China should approve of the cup that it was in. He's the Green Bay Packers fan. Quite a few Packers fans in here, actually. Not sure if they're all in here, but just kind of mix this together to combine it. Okay, now we're gonna take, just like we did for the other dough, we're gonna take our dry ingredients and add the wet to them. Whatever. Okay. And stir this up to combine. Which the whisk isn't really going to be the best tool for
Yeah,
this.
you want to have a special?
Yeah, please. Okay.
Butter just for the pan?
No.
Okay.
The butter goes in once this is
Got it.
mixed. Yes, we have the recipe taped up. I don't think you were in here last time, but when the recipe was taped up on the fridge, I would just like walk up and stare at the fridge like this and just be perfectly still.
You also were like in your own world.
Yeah, I was in I was in a weird place on, was that just Friday, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Friday. I had a rough week. So, have I ever used egg substitutes? Yes, I know you don't like eggs, and I always forget if you're full vegan or not. We're adding in some melted butter, and we're gonna add in the corn at this point too.
What egg substitutes have you used?
I honestly don't remember the names of them, but they were like, you know, your typical soy-based egg substitute. You can use them. It honestly is difficult for baking because it's a different product. However, give it a try. Experiment. You eat cheese, no milk, or eggs. Okay. That's what I didn't think you were full vegan.
I can know, I'm in school with a lot of people who are vegan, and including somebody that I'm in this like nutrition club for school, and one of the guys in the club is vegan, and I know he bakes a lot and uses egg substitutes, so I can talk to him and try to get some ideas from him. The applesauce is actually something that I want to explore. I found a recipe for like a baked oatmeal, and that calls for applesauce, so I want to try that. But I'm going to start doing some cooking for that club, and I need to do like healthier versions of recipes. So that's something I'm going to explore. If you've got any recommendations, I am more than open to them, and I'm going to start testing stuff out. So if there's anything that you are looking for in particular that you haven't been able to find, let me know, and I'll try to find some good recommendations.
So we've got our cornbread now. This is going to go into our 425 degree oven. The pan itself has been buttered. And this is only going to take about 25 minutes or so.
Do you use just like the unsweetened applesauce? Yeah, and I expect it's also not like an equal quantity replacement.
Yeah, I mean, so much of cooking is trial and error. I mean, a lot of the recipes that we're using have been adapted either from old recipes, from when we used to consume meat and are finding ways to substitute more vegetables or protein bases into it, or they're, you know, recipes that we find either online or in cookbooks that, again, oftentimes are things that we don't consume or want to consume that day. So it's all about being able to adapt, and that's gonna, you know, trial and error is so much of what we do in the kitchen. I don't think you were here on Friday, but we had quite a bit of trial and error going on. So we actually started with Stir Friday like we normally do, and we wanted to do our own take on kind of a classic beef and broccoli. The problem with that is beef is a main component, and we're not consuming that right now. So we had to find a way to incorporate tofu in to replace it, and it actually came out really well. I enjoyed it a lot. Then we wanted to make another homemade ice cream. It was a different preparation this time, where we actually had to do some of the churning ourselves. And Mrs. Biscotti thought it would be a great idea to add in some dates, which I was all for. It sounded really good, and it smelled great. But it didn't cross our mind that the dates might have pits in them. And dates do have pits in them. And they are, I mean,
big. They're like peanut, a little bit bigger than peanut size.
Yeah, and they went, they kind of fucked up our emulsion blender. I mean, it didn't break it. Yeah, sorry, immersion blender. And it made a mess. It sprayed shit everywhere. I had to wipe down like all the way up here. There was stuff. It was just a big
It was
disaster.
entertaining.
Yeah, no, it was entertaining, and again, a learning lesson. That's so much of cooking is trial and error. So we learned that it would absolutely be something that we would make again, just go through a different process in doing so.
I think a better bamboo can work downstairs. Do you want that? That's different.
Yeah. Let's see, Turtle, since you were here, we finished up that cornbread and got it into the oven, and then I just told the story of the fun that we had on Friday. I think you were here for that, of just the disaster. Also, sorry, I did not say hello to Kriston Tao Tu. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. Is it Chris? Is it Kristen? Anyway, welcome. Hope you enjoy the content. We're kind of taking just a very quick break. A lot of stuff. We got 2 things in the oven, 1 thing on the stovetop already, and Mrs. Biscotti is getting a fresh cutting board for me because we've got some other stuff to prepare. Our next thing we're going to be working on are some veggie skewers. So this is, again, just an idea that is hopefully something you can, you can use.
Oh, that smells so good.
I know. Use in, various barbecue preparations or whatnot, like if you're going to a barbecue this weekend or at some point during the summer, there are a lot of different meats that you could use, obviously. We're going to make a vegetarian version. Wow, Freudian slip. And we're going to be just using some kind of smaller bamboo skewers. Something to keep in mind when you're working with skewers, they are usually bamboo or wood. Good. Stealing my thunder, China. Because they're wood, if you leave them in this form and you put them on an open flame, they will catch on fire, or at least get very burnt very quickly and potentially break. So you want to soak your skewers in water, depending upon how much you're cooking and how hot the flame is. It only takes a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, but you can soak them up to like half an hour or so ahead of time. I don't really know how many we need, so I'm just gonna, that should be plenty. Put them in a Ziploc bag, fill them up with enough water to cover them, and that'll get them. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna absorb all of that water. No, you're fine, Kate, I'm just giving you shit. They're gonna absorb all that water, and so when they go onto an open flame, they won't catch on fire, they won't overburn. So yeah, just like that. So they'll hang out like that for, like I said, 5 or 10 minutes, just while I prep some of the vegetables that'll go
I'll kind of mix
on.
them around to make sure, like,
Try and rotate this.
because they'll float, so you want to make sure. You can also, if you have a long Tupperware, you can put it in that. This is going to be clean, so we'll just dry it afterwards so it can be reused.
Yeah. So the vegetables that we're going to be using are some like white button mushrooms, some leeks, some kind of on the small side zucchini, and then some grape tomatoes. Welcome, Anthony. No, well, I wouldn't mind if I was Mexican, but I am not. But. Oh, okay. Bye-bye to you. Yeah. Get excited seeing women on the camera.
They're so sexy.
Mm-hmm.
With pajama pants. Tennis shoes.
So, So what we're going to be working with is trying to get everything in similar portion sizes, and I don't know if this is an Anthony that I know or not, and if you're being sarcastic or whatever, but I'll give you a warning. If you keep it up, you'll be promptly banned, so. whatever. Anyway, we want to try and keep the pieces somewhat uniform and somewhat in the same, bite-sized portions.
Well, that was the advantage of buying the smaller zucchini. I like having the skin on.
Yeah, same. So I'm gonna cut pieces, about this big. Is this safe for you? You suffer from diabetes? Well, I mean, most meals are safe for you. You just have to watch your insulin and your blood sugar levels.
The kebabs, the chili, and the rice salad we're making should all be okay.
You probably want to avoid the sweets that we're making because they have, obviously, amounts of sugar.
Yeah, the cornbread, I would say, limit. The strawberry cake, I probably would avoid. But everything else should be fine. The rice salad does have, rice and oranges in it, so there's a decent amount of carbohydrates, but you can substitute with brown rice. We're using white.
Alright, we're just getting all the fun people in here.
And then there's also, we have olives and almonds, and then we're using fresh oranges too. So there's enough fiber and healthy fats and stuff in the rice salad that I think you could use, or eat a small amount and be okay. But everything else, I mean, the chili is all very healthy ingredients. And when you're cooking stuff on your own, you have control over how much sugar or salt or whatever content that you're adding to it. So that offers a lot of okay.
Yeah, seriously. Just all the trolls are hanging out in my stream today, apparently. It's like, I always wonder with that, do you think that, no, don't worry about it, Kate. I've got the computer right here. Because they always seem to come in batches. So do they just go around from stream to stream together? Or, I don't know. It always just seems to be interesting. Okay, I'm actually gonna leave the mushrooms whole, I think.
Did you want to trim the ends at all?
I think I'm just gonna leave them.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too. I was wondering if it was him. I know another Anthony in real life also, and I've sent him the link to my stream. He's never made it, so I was wondering if it was maybe him. But, yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to plate? Or maybe a small sheet pan?
I can just use those.
But as they cook.
Oh, yeah, probably one of the smaller sheet pans. Yeah, right, Alan? This is ridiculous. Okay. There you go.
So we got a small sheet pan here. We're going to use it to put them on as we assemble them, and then as they cook, we can put them on too. One of the reasons we use leeks, I don't think you talked about the mild, why we picked any of this stuff.
No, go ahead and...
Just in general, why we picked some of these vegetables. They're, first of all, some of our favorite vegetables, typically. But as far as the combination, they'll all cook at relatively the same rate. You saw it was relatively minimal prep. The leeks give a nice onion flavor, but are a little bit easier to cut up than onions and also to skewer than onions. And it's a nice mix of flavors. You've got kind of the sweet, acidic flavor from the tomatoes, the nice like meaty flavor from the mushrooms, the fresh flavor from the zucchini, and then the, again, kind of sweet flavor from the leeks. So it looks pretty too, it's different colors. You of course could, use whatever vegetables you prefer, omit, add anything. But we just thought this would be a nice mix of stuff. If you didn't want to skewer stuff, you could cook everything here loose on the grill pan also and just put everything like in a big bowl and take it that way. We just think it's kind of fun to skewer stuff. It's very like, typical barbecue food. And you could add little pieces of, shrimp or chicken or beef in this too. You just would want to make sure they're pretty small pieces.
Yeah, that's essentially what we're going for in our kebab. Something to keep in mind too as you're working with the skewers, I forgot to talk about if they're in a plastic bag like this, they are kind of sharp. You might poke a hole and then you're gonna get leek, in your bag. So just be mindful. And just I'm being a little bit slow with this because I'm trying to get everything to be into the middle. And, vegetables can be a little bit on the delicate side. No, I know. I based it on understanding where that is. Okay, thanks for hanging out, Alan. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy man with the baby. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kristen or Chris. I appreciate that. If anyone is new here and enjoying the content, please feel free to hit that follow button. We try and stream, like anywhere between 2 and 4 times during the week, including weekend. It's just been kind of inconsistent. I work a somewhat demanding job and travel, and Mrs. Biscotti's in school. So we stream as often as we can, but life is life. No, not yet. Do another 5 minutes on the, just on that. Oh, it got turned off. Can you put it back on for just, Welcome back, Speller. See, I told you she was in here. Yeah, and that's why it was like that. Yeah. Maybe I'll even just do a few.
Yeah.
And then we can get the rest later. I'll just do one more after this. So this is something I forgot, that we were gonna do this process ahead of time and just show you how to do like 1 or 2. There's wine on the floor. Those are empty bottles because we have another 3 bottles in here that are empty, plus like an entire full trash can because she just goes in on wine. It's true. Kate approves. Oh, Kate, I have to send you some. Like Mrs. Biscotti showed why you guys are kind of kindred spirits last night.
Oh no.
I took some video of her. We were at Dave and Buster's, and she played some games, and it was quite fun.
But I kicked your ass in Super Shot.
Yes, and something else. I don't know. Well, Skee-Ball, you always beat me. But,
Yeah.
should I just put the stock back in the freezer?
You think that's okay since it's thawed some already?
Yeah, it's only been a little bit. I mean, we can even.
So the vegetables added enough liquid to the chili that we are not going to need that much of the stock. So we just added what was melted to the pot, and we're putting the rest back in the freezer. So we're not going to take up your time with making the rest of the skewers.
Yeah, I'll do those off stream. Move this back over here.
We're just going to cook what we have.
Yeah, I assembled 4, so you'll be able to get an idea. This goes over here. The big one.
He's going to climb. Which always makes me nervous. It's our grill pan.
Yeah, we do what we can, Kate. Where was that mixture? It's back here. So, oh shit, you can get the back and forth. Hold on. No, for them. I needed to turn this stuff a little bit. There, that's better. Good job, Turtle. I'm proud of you. Okay, I'm gonna start checking some of these breads. While our grill pan heats up. So, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, our strawberry bread is done. So this is just gonna go.
Do you want the trivet?
Yes.
There's this one. Is that big enough?
And the other. So yeah, you see we got 2 really nice loaves of strawberry bread now. Alright. I'll check the cornbread in just a minute. This is just a mix of some oil, vinegar, and salt and pepper.
Yeah.
So I'm just hitting the grill pan with that. And then on go. Our vegetables. cornbread.
Yes, you.
Yeah, it's done. So it got a little golden in the middle, some of the edges. This is just because we cooked it in the toaster oven. It didn't cook perfectly even everywhere, you can kind of see. But it's a nice golden brown. It's got a nice springiness to it. And won't be overly dense. Hold it. Yeah. Put some of this oil and vinegar solution on here. Again, this could be something that you prepare ahead of time and bring with you to a barbecue. That's just nice and easy. Some of the problem that we're going to have with this is, even though I was trying to cut things evenly, some of the pieces are thicker than others. So if I was on an open flame grill, it would be a lot easier to cook this evenly. But things like the little tomato in there isn't going to be directly on the pan. So it's just going to have that like ambient heat that ends up cooking it, but it won't get a true grill mark on it. So just whatever is, you know, the biggest items, which a lot of them are going to be the mushrooms, that'll be the part that really gets the char on it. They'll still cook just from being that close to the heat, but
Just remember the flame is on the yellow pan.
smells so good. Be careful when flipping.
Yeah, you could use tongs if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
This is another way to make sure we're getting some color on all of the items. You can kind of like press the parts that aren't getting onto the grill pan onto it to make sure it can get some sear. Hey, what's up, Nick? Welcome back. Things are coming along quite nicely. Oh, we're gonna lose some of our leek. Alright, splitting. And that's naturally gonna happen when you do skewers. You're gonna have pieces that kind of come apart. That's actually one of the benefits of being able to use a grill pan, is you don't lose anything through the cracks in a grill. What was your first alone shift, Nick? Went okay though? Alright, so we're getting pretty close on these being done. I have a cooler area up here, then down here is where I'm really doing the majority of the cooking. Oh, the song is 1 Inch Punch by 10 Foot Ganja Plant. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, let those chill out in the back of the grill. You can see I've got like a cooler area back there. Then we're going to rotate back around to assemble another side dish, a rice salad that we have. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and take them off so it doesn't burn. Alright, back this way. Can you help?
Yes, sorry. What do you mean?
The cornbread is like right where the computer goes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got a haircut. I cut it myself. I mean, it's nothing that fancy, but I just cut it quite short, like I always do. Try and hide my bald spot the most I can.
Should we move these over there?
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing some rear.
Some shifting here.
Yeah. It's actually I want to turn these out anyway.
Okay.
Maybe.
I think we've got some cool now.
Okay. If we do, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn out these strawberry breads because if they continue to sit in the pan, they can end up overcooking a little bit. So hopefully,
Should we flour them too?
probably. So and another fun learning experience. Yeah. Probably should have floured these as well, or maybe done the like paper spray like I do for the pound cake. There's
Looks like it's gonna be some, right?
yeah, no, it should be all right. It's just the bottom I'm worried about.
They pulled away from the pan quite a bit. I tried to butter the bottom a good amount, but we're just taking a butter knife now and running it and kind of pulling the bread against the pan. So we'll see what happens here.
There it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other advantage of doing it while it's still warm too. It's more likely to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the butter and the oil still being hot, it's more likely to release.
And just be careful when, remember these pans are very hot still. I have kind of Teflon fingers,
Yeah.
so don't burn yourself after you've cooked your products.
Well, be careful with the knife too, not to like hack at the pan.
Yeah, you don't want to scrape up your pan or like destroy the bread that you just took the care in making.
Yeah, I'm very excited to eat this. Are you guys going to Universal Studios? Do you want another wrap?
Yeah, this will be, I don't want it to fall and break. So, we've got our nice strawberry breads. All good. So, those are gonna cool out. That's the one. Attempt to turn out the cornbread as well. See if it's...
We've just been stirring the chili throughout. It's on a very low flame.
That goes.
Beautiful. Oh my god. This is one reason to burn yourself. Oh my god. So good.
Hey, what's up, Anthony? Yeah, our cornbread.
Oh, so good. And the nice little corn kernels are so crispy. Oh my god.
Anthony, you missed it. We had somebody that shared our name that was a fucking idiot in here earlier.
You were getting blamed for being creepy and gross.
Yeah, we thought you might have another profile, and then some comments got made about Mrs. Biscotti, and I knew it wasn't you, so.
I didn't see what they were, but apparently they were gross.
Oh, I don't even remember what they were at this point. Hey, what's up, Conway Twitty? My red apron? I'm not wearing it today. I just kind of...
It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot, so every layer of clothing is making it that much warmer, so I went without it.
Looks like we might get a thunderstorm in a little bit.
Yeah. Alright, so the last item that we need to build... by the way, thank you for coming back, Conway Twitty fan.
Yeah.
I appreciate you stopping back in, seeing how we're doing.
As long as you're willing to deal with Kimbo, we are happy to have guests.
Yes. So we're gonna assemble the last bit, which it's gonna be kind of like a nice rice salad. So this would be a side dish that you could potentially bring to a barbecue or a gathering of some sort. So we've got a cup and a half of just like basmati or jasmine rice.
And it was a cup and a half uncooked.
Uncooked, yeah. And we just cooked it in the rice cooker, put it on a sheet tray with some parchment paper to let it cool off.
And again, you could substitute brown rice, or if you wanted to like get fancy and use...
Actually, I'm gonna use this to whisk all the ingredients together. So, can I get a whisk? Do we have any left? Gone through so much material already today.
Which one?
Left hand. Thank you.
Oh!
Good God. Did you not see her?
Sorry.
Oh, she stood up. Yeah. We had a Kimbo snafu. Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. We just do what makes us have fun and eat some good food. So,
Thank you.
got a cup and a half of rice that's been cooked. We've got 1 orange. We put the zest and the juice in here. We have got 2 oranges that I've already peeled. Let's see. Let's work on this first. Okay, so we got some oil. How much oil? 2 tablespoons of oil. I believe this is a canola oil.
And also 2 teaspoons of rice vinegar in there. This is something too that I would make like on a Sunday evening and use to have for lunch during the week. It would be a great side for fish or chicken.
Some garlic.
But
Salt and pepper.
one thing that we've noticed in going to like potlucks or just, you know, barbecues, friends' dinners, if you bring a dish like this, like it doesn't have to be anything complicated, but people appreciate something that is like homemade.
And just something a little different.
Yeah.
Like not just a canned potato salad or pasta salad.
Or like the store-bought cookies from, you know, Ralph's or Kroger's or whatever.
We're gonna use some olives. These are just green olives, but they're actually stuffed with a clove of garlic. It's roasted garlic too.
Mm-hmm.
So probably didn't need to use as much garlic as we did, but whatever. We both really like garlic. So whatever. This calls for about 1/3 of a cup. I'm just gonna eyeball it about 6 olives. I might even add a little bit more because I also really like olives.
Yeah, I agree.
Ow. Woohoo, I almost just cut the shit out of myself.
Yeah, be really careful chopping olives. You could buy pre-sliced olives. Typically, the whole olives tend to have the more briny, salty flavor. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Than the pre-sliced olives, but if you want to make sure you don't cut your fingers off, you could buy the sliced olives.
That was almost bad.
Yeah. But yeah, you could also use a smaller knife.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Olives are a little bit dangerous.
Well, I'm kind of tired
Yeah.
from cooking and chopping all day.
You can do stuff if you
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, I need to pay more attention
Yeah.
than I am. And this just goes right into our mix. Then we're gonna have some almonds. I'm gonna toast these. So these are just some slivered almonds that are peeled. And I'm gonna put them over.
Yeah, I got those. If you go, the market that I go to is called Sprouts, which is a chain. Whole Foods will have it too. They've just got like big bulk bins that you can like scoop out however much you want. That's where I bought these. It's a lot more affordable when it comes to things like nuts, which are typically pretty expensive. Trader Joe's and stuff will sell big bags of them. But then you're buying, you know, a big amount and it can get kind of pricey. But when you find the big bulk bins, you just get however much you want. So that's what I did for these. Because particularly with slivered almonds, like we don't use that as often as we do with like the chopped pecans that I bought, or pecans as he says. We'll just snack on those. For almonds, I prefer the whole almonds. I'll still snack on these, or even we'll add them to trail mix that we buy store-bought. We'll often just put it in a big mason jar and like mix up other stuff that we just have kind of left over of. But that's another way to just kind of, if you're trying new recipes or whatever, to be a little more affordable. if you can find stores that have the bulk bins. Sprouts too, I do like. They've got even more bulk spices. It's just like big tubs that you dump in little Ziploc bags, however much you want. And that's a great way to make like the chili recipe if you don't want to buy a big bag of any of the spices. Or like a taco night or something, you can make your own taco seasoning. It's a nice way to add flavors that you're not quite sure you like, or just don't want to buy a full bag or a full jar or something. You can buy like really expensive spices like star anise or what
Saffron.
else? Yeah, saffron, and it's like pennies. Because you just buy, exactly what you need, and it's not very much. So this is some fresh thyme, and I'll show the book here too. We got this recipe from actually one of my favorite cookbooks. It's the America's Test Kitchen TV show cookbook. I really recommend this show as well. They have a podcast also. The show you can find on Netflix. The podcast I just find on iTunes, and it's free. But they break down pretty like classic recipes. We cooked before we gave up meat. We cooked like our whole Thanksgiving meal this past Thanksgiving, pretty much from all of these recipes. They made one of Julia Child's like classic turkey recipes and showed how to cook everything, her stuffing as well. It's a really great resource for learning like basic cooking techniques, the science behind it and why things work. They recommend cooking tools. We've bought several tools that they've recommended that are affordable and really useful, and they explain like why things are purposeful and why they've tested different things, why they work. So I really recommend it. Again, it's called America's Test Kitchen. The cookbook we refer to really frequently. We did tweak it a little bit. This recipe called for oregano. They didn't have fresh oregano at the market, and we wanted fresh herbs, so we got some thyme, which we also really like. Yeah, it's a very good resource. Has a great index in the back if you're looking for things. It's actually also the book that we used for the beef and broccoli recipe that we tweaked to make with tofu.
Okay, so these are those toasted almonds now, so you can see they've got a little bit of color to them. This was the purpose. It brings out some of the natural oils that are deep within the almonds. And then adding that right in, they'll start to absorb some of that dressing that we made. Now, this is a technique too that is often done in like nice restaurants and oh no, this is fine. They're called supremes or segmentations. So what you're doing is within an orange, you can see there's like the fibers that run through it that separate the pieces. And you just take your knife and run along that segment, and you get a really nice slice that has a lot less of the membrane on it, so you're getting more of the fruit. It's a pain in the ass to do, but it really does make a pretty big difference. And again, it's something that like fine dining establishments do a lot of. But this way, ideally I would have liked to have peeled these a little bit better too, but you can see like all this extra membrane. This is a little bit tougher. It's not as clean as the skin or the flesh of.
We can squeeze that out and get the juice out of it. I can toss it in our stock bag and have that to use for juice in the stock, so it doesn't need to go wasted.
Right. So
Um,
it's kind of an optional step, honestly. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it's mandatory for this recipe by any means. They call for it, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to do. And
you could get the little cans of mandarin oranges if you didn't
Mhm.
want to do this process.
yeah, they have less fibers in them that would essentially eliminate the piece that we're trying to get rid of here.
I think the fresh orange I think is nice in this, but the canned, just drain them and toss in the, they're nice teeny little ones. You could use the tangerines too, like the little cuties, or and peel those even just peeled and segmented. You wouldn't necessarily have to do this process, but the orange, the juice, I think adds a nice element to this.
Would somebody mind saying something in stream? I think our chat
Yeah, we may
window
have frozen.
froze. It's fine if you guys are just being quiet, but I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. I haven't seen anyone say anything in quite a while, and that just makes me worried that something is wrong on our end. I'll refresh it in just a second. Yeah, but it's like you have to go to the other window. People just might be quiet anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, sorry if we missed a bunch of chat, or again, if you guys are just being quiet, no big deal at all. But didn't really see anything from the last few minutes. Oh, I see you, Turtle. Thank you for saying something. But yeah, I think we missed a big chunk. Which, if anyone asked a question in that time, please ask it again. Happy to answer any questions. So we're gonna add the rice.
I'm eating corn bread on the side because I'm hungry.
Yeah. Stir this all together. So again, this has that nice juice from the orange, the oil, the vinegar, the almonds, the olives. Break up some of the rice.
Yeah, the rice is a little sticky, so I'm just breaking it up a little bit. Yeah, I know we need to do Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
Kimbo agrees. She's howling in the background. It's got basically a dressing already because we've got the oil, the rice vinegar, and the orange juice in there. Some garlic. The olives too add some, fat and seasoning too.
So I'm going to take those supremes that I created, throw them in at this point.
There's a storm coming. Yeah. We've got a thunderstorm coming in, so Kim was also very interested.
Yeah, that's our rice salad with oranges, olives, and toasted almonds. I think that's it.
Do I show the strawberries first?
Ah, yes. There's one last piece. We did a brunch stream where we made some French toast and salmon hash. It's like a big baked French toast. So the last thing we're gonna do is go over, we're gonna have some of these fresh strawberries with our strawberry bread. Hello GTA 5 Drift King. Thanks for stopping by. So just a pretty simple preparation of these. I'm going to go ahead and remove the green. Over here. And then do exclamation point menu. And then I'm just going to take my Tournay knife and I'm going to run it around the part that is white right there.
What'd I do?
Huh? Yeah.
Oh, okay, it worked. All right.
And out comes the nice little middle of the core, and you get a really nice big strawberry to work with. I'm just gonna slice it into quarters, but that way you retain all of the meat of the strawberry, and you're really wasting essentially nothing, just the pieces that you wouldn't want to eat. Rather than like slicing off, the top, you're missing out on all these pieces here. We really just want to get rid of the stem itself. So, just be careful in this process because you're kind of cutting towards you. But again, it gets rid of that little core, keeps the whole strawberry intact.
Yeah, we're going to use these to basically make some strawberry shortcake with the bread, and we're also going to make some s'mores with the bread. So we'll post pictures of those when they're done. But it's going to be good.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to take some granulated sugar.
It was probably about, what, quarter cup?
Yeah, quarter cup, third of a cup maybe. And then just kind of stir it so the sugar gets on all the strawberries. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull out a lot of those natural sugars and juices from the strawberries. This is a process called maceration that we talked about before. And really you just want this to kind of sit and hang out for even 30 minutes to an hour. It's great if you can do this overnight. The longer you let it sit, the better it's going to be. Without letting it sit for like a week. But if you can let it go overnight, it really is nice.
That's how you make like prison wine.
Yes, this is how you make prison wine. In a toilet. But yeah, you essentially are just letting it ferment a little bit and letting the sugars ferment. But yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. It still has a grainy texture to it. It'll smooth out and just kind of combine as it hangs out. And that's something else with this salad too. Again, this is something you really should let it hang out for a little while. Let that dressing be absorbed into the rice and the other ingredients. You could eat it right now, totally fine, but it'll continue to get better if you can let it sit for an hour or two. It'll really
You could
help.
also make it a day ahead. That's part of why we chose some of these recipes, is it's all stuff that, whether you're hosting or whether you're going somewhere, it's all things that you could do either the full recipe or parts of it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rice salad, you could have done pretty much all of the prep ahead of time and then assembled it.
Yeah. You saw we just did 5 things in a matter of 2 hours. We did some prep work ahead of time, but each of these dishes individually would not take very long at all.
And none of it was very expensive.
Yeah. All of it was relatively inexpensive and easy to make. Some of it you just have to wait for it to cook, like both of the breads, the cornbread and the strawberry bread. Both of those, it's just, took maybe 5 minutes to assemble, and then you have to wait for it to be done, and you're done. So yeah, that's really it for this. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope everyone has an awesome 4th of July or just a nice holiday weekend. Hope some of these ideas inspire you to try some cooking on your own. Of course, ask any questions you may have. And
Thank you for hanging out with people too. We really appreciate it.
yeah, no, I know it's a holiday weekend for people, so appreciate you spending some time with us and providing a fun chat room to hang out in. And yeah, we will see you soon. Hopefully be streaming at some point this week. At the absolute latest, it would be Stir Friday. So we'll be around.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.